All right. Hello, everybody. I hope everyone's doing well. I'm going to come back here for another session or lesson here today from the Female Brain book. I'll just going in. I'm going to be doing about two parts. I realized as I was trying to record this previous times that it's going to be too long to try to do it all in one video, especially we're trying to do that all into Instagram. So I'm going to try to do this into two parts so that way it's a little, I don't have to try to rush everything I'm saying. Okay. So before going in though, really quickly, I just want to state that this information I'm going to be sharing isn't for like red pill type content. I'm not doing it for that. I'm not doing it for manipulation tactics on women or bashing women or whatever the heck you want to call it for like about their bio not biology but their psychology and things like that. I'm not really here for any of that. It's going to be a lesson here for both the male and the female, boy, girl, man, woman type thing. That's really what's going to be. It's going to be a lesson for both sides, both genders to take away at different points in the conversation or dialogue I'm doing here. So, part one is just going to be going over the readings that I have in the book. I'm going to be doing three different sections in the book. I'm going to be doing a little bit of dialogue about the reads because all the information that I'm going to have contained in this part one is going to follow up into part two when I do my map out of all of the stuff that I'm going to be discussing. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to follow up here on page 8 first to get started. Make sure you guys can see as well. All right, so getting started. So this is going to be important here. So just going to really go over the highlighted section here so that way it makes the most sense. This is what I want to get out of it. So it says here on page 8, the female brain has tremendous unique aptitudes, understanding verbal agility, the ability to connect deeply in friendship, a nearly psychic capacity to read faces in tone of voice for emotions and states of mind, and the ability to diffuse conflict. All of this is hardwired into the brains of women. These are the talents of women are born with that many men, frankly, are not. Men are born with other talents and shaped by their own hormonal reality, but that's the subject of another book. Okay, so the main thing that I want to take away from this section right here is the main things that she's talking about, which is going to be verbal agility, connect deeply in friendships, and then reading facial expressions, tones of voices, and ability to diffuse conflict. I'm going to be breaking all of that stuff down here, as that's really the main point here of chapter 1, and then some other stuff as well. So if you're not aware of what verbal agility is, it's basically the ability to think quickly, high pace. Let's say you're in a job interview, something like that. You have to think on your feet. That's basically what it is. And then clear articulation, meaning they speak in a way that's very easy to be understood. And then as well as vocabulary flexibility, meaning they're very good at picking their choice of words when conveying a message in a conversation. And then lastly, along the lines of verbal agility would be the tone and delivery control. Okay, so those are along the lines of verbal agility. So we can see that they're very good at naturally at communication skills. Okay, and then second is going to be connect deeply in friendships, which is really letting us know that women naturally are social creatures. Human in general are social creatures, but bonding, friendships, relationships are far more important in women's survival. That's more what they're getting at. And this is why, for example, let's say a girl in her friend group, she gets she gets a boyfriend or husband, and she gets the boyfriend, and then she notices that some of her girlfriends, right, she starts to lose some of her friends. And the reason is because women see that once she gets the boyfriend, that she loses more time inside of the friendship, which means that this girl, her friend, has lost more bonding. That's kind of what it is. And that's part of the reason why other women try to sabotage other women's uh, friend relationships and stuff like that. It's for survival, kind of, basically. Okay. And then the third one is the ability to diffuse conflict. So for this, I'm going to go into page 21 and 22 inside of the book for you guys and read a little bit of that, so that way we can I can make this make a little more sense. Okay. So finding it here for you guys, just this end part, really, last little paragraph. So it's going to say, typical non-testosteronized, estrogen-ruled girls are very invested in preserving harmonious relationships, right? Bonding. From their earliest days, they live most comfortably and happily in the realm of peaceful interpersonal connections, right? You know what interpersonal means? Very good. They prefer to avoid conflict because discord puts them at odds with their urge to stay connected, to gain approval and nurture. And then going into page 22 here is going to be a little tight because I highlighted this in yellow. Please forgive this. I read this book and highlighted stuff from like 2018, so my information's a little off. Maybe not off, but not the right markers. So here, highlighted section, it's going to say, as has been observed in studies, girls participate jointly in decision making with minimal stress, conflict, or displays of status. They often express agreement with a partner's suggestions, and when they have ideas of their own, they'll put them in the form of questions such as, I'll be the teacher, okay? So, very interesting about that being said. So the reason why I needed that to be read as I was going over the diffuse conflict part is because what the author is trying to state here is that women have very great communication skills or interpersonal skills. However, they avoid conflict. This is very important to understand. I feel like men don't get this concept as much. We, as you know, as a guy myself, we don't understand this concept very well yet. But their need or desire to end friendships and relationships is not very good. Like they're more likely to diffuse conflict to keep a bond going than to end it. Okay, so they're basically more avoidant of conflict. So, for example, here, what's a good one to give? What we just read here with women, when women have their ideas, they put them in forms of questions. What she means by this, as guys, we can understand this, is like, for example, when your girlfriend's hungry or something like that, right? She'll ask you what you want to eat. And the reason she's asking what you want to eat is because she wants you to be able to have something to eat, so that way she wouldn't appear as if she was being selfish by having a desire that you don't have. And then if her hunger is going to break a bond or something like that, then she doesn't want to appear off that way. So she wants to try to get you to agree as well, to seeing if you want something to eat, so you both can agree to it. It's very strange, but I know other guys have gone through this as well. I have as well. It's very interesting. Um, However, with that all being said, with understanding women have great communication skills, however, they're very good at diffusing conflict, but also avoiding conflict at the same time, expressing their own desires, which means as guys, you have to understand that innately women have a better skill set naturally for lying and manipulation and getting away with it because of that. Right. And this is also why, for example, a lot of guys say, well, I want a woman to just tell me straight up how she feels and stuff like that. It doesn't work that way. Yes, we want to develop that, but we don't want them to be too masculine either, because being too direct is now masculine to some degree. Yes. And then For example, another one of diffusing conflict sometimes in relationships could be that women do offer, or if let's say they get caught in an argument and you won this argument battle, for example, she'll try to calm you down by using like sexual favors or taking you out to eat, something like that, right? So it's to diffuse the conflict. It's not necessarily because she wants to reflect on her actions. It's more so she's just trying to simply diffuse the conflict. This is why women, when they get into these arguments and the guy is mad, she tries to hug the guy. It's not necessarily because she thinks she's wrong. It's more so she's trying to keep the bond relationship going. Okay. And then the last two here that we're going to read is going to be the facial expressions and tones of voices. Okay, so for that, I'm going to need to jump to page 118, 119 for this. It's going to be beautiful, beautiful. I still got like 9 minutes for part one. Okay, so going over this here. So it's going to say here on page 118, a highlighted section, whatever the expression of his face, her eyes and facial muscles will automatically mimic it. The rate and depth of her breathing start to match his. Her posture and muscle tension conform to his. Her body and brain receive his emotional signals. This information is sent through her brain circuits to search her emotional memory banks for a match. This process is called mirroring. Not all people can do it equally well. Although most of the studies of this topic have been done on primates, scientists speculate that there may be more mirror neurons in the human female brain than in the human male brain. Okay, so takeaway from that is facial expressions and breathing rate. Women have a more inapt understanding of catching that pattern. And then going to page 119 is, it says, her cortex, the place for analytical thinking, would try to make sense of this mismatch. She detects the subtle incongruence in his tone of voice. It is a little too over the top for his protestations of innocence and devotion. His eyes are darting a bit too much for her to believe what he is saying. The meaning of his words, the tone of his voice, and the expression in his eyes do not match. She knows he is lying. And then here at the last section here, the female brain is expert at reading faces, interpreting tone of voice, and assessing emotional nuance. Okay, so what does that all mean coming to understanding the women's natural ability of reading facial expressions and tones of voices? So what this means is that, as we can know from the internet, women have a better understanding they have a different different system that they use in order to tell. Basically, women can tell, God placed it this way, but women can tell better when a man's cheating, or if being unfaithful, or if something's off from him, right? So this is why a lot of women are able to catch men cheating in relationships faster than men would do it the other way, because us as men, we don't have this natural ability of checking for like heart rate and impulse, right? So for those of you who might be into detectives type of stuff, they know that when you lie, there's usually some part of your body has this like physical reaction to it. Like cops tend to build that over time. However, women have this skill already innate, like already naturally given to them. Okay, it's very important because this is really interesting, because this goes into Genesis 2:18, where the women's skill set is opposite compared to the man's. And quite frankly, I would actually make the debate that this skill set of them having this facial recognition is actually supposed to be used to make sure that the man keeps himself, or the godly man keeps himself on the right path. That's why a lot of women can tell like their boyfriends, like, or husband, is there's something wrong with him, right? And she asks him what's wrong, and he says, there's nothing wrong. And then, a week later, now he expresses that something is wrong. Typically women can tell that about a man, and because they pay attention to their breathing, their facial expressions, their tones of voices. They check for all the different patterns and throughout the week, all the events that they can all process. And this is how women are able to discern if there's something off about the man or not, in that, throughout the relationship, things like that. Okay. So this is all going to be part one. I think I'm going to have to probably create more parts, unfortunately, because I didn't think it was going to be this long. But if you did watch this, I do appreciate it. I'm going to have to create some more parts. So if anything in here, you guys have any questions, anything that might need to be expanded upon or thought of a little better, that maybe I could have worked on a little better, because I'm not really too good with presentations, but I try to, I'm just kind of learning this. All right. I do appreciate it, and stay tuned for the next part.